I said I'd protect the law as it was, which is effectively a pro-choice position. About 2 years ago, when we were studying cloning in our state, I said, look, we have gone too far. It's a brave new world mentality that Roe v. Wade has given us, and I changed my mind.
It would be okay to repeal. It would be okay also if a strict constructionist judge viewed it as precedent, and I think a judge has to make that decision.
Would it be okay if they didn't repeal it?
I think the court has to make that decision, and then the country can deal with it. We're a federalist system of government, and states could make their own decisions.
Okay, we're back with the panel. There's some samples from the Republican debate last night. Now, the odd thing here is Rudy Giuliani is sort of the odd man out on some social issues, certainly on abortion. Had to know he was going to be asked about this. It was going to come up. And as far as I can tell, he had one foot squarely planted in both camps.
Look, I don't want to be an apologist here, but he was trying to be concise, and that's why it came out really badly. The key words here are strict constructionist judge. If you ask him, do you have a litmus test on judges and abortion, he will say no. I do want a strict constructionist, and I would assume that they would probably overturn Roe. However, you could be an honorable strict constructionist, and I could see John Roberts perhaps as an example of that, who would say, well, the precedent here is so old and so heavy that I'll stick with it even though it's a bad ruling. That's his position on this. It's a complicated one. He tried to do it in 8 seconds, and he blew it.
That's one of the problems.
No, that's not what I think. Look, I think this guy, when he was in New York, it's just like Romney. Romney was in Massachusetts. He was pro-choice. He goes into a national campaign. He's pro-life. It's happened before. You know, George H.W. Bush famously made that leap. Right. And Giuliani has not gone the same way that Romney has. Instead, he's got a wiffle-waffle position. He wants to be anti-abortion. He wants you to know that he hates abortion. On the other hand, he's going to leave it up to the woman's choice and judges in between and states in between and stuff like that. So it's tough for a guy like him.
His answer was, it's okay if Roe v. Wade's overturned. It's okay if it's not. You know, I mean, he doesn't care about Roe v. Wade. It's an important decision, Charles. I don't think it's at all complicated, his position, but he at least ought to be able to state it coherently now.
Well, I just did.
And he seems to flip-flop. Well, you did better than he did. And he seems to flip-flop between being for taxpayer-paid abortions and then against them. Now he's for the Hyde Amendment
So
again.
at the next debate, Charles, you're going to be next to Ron Paul.
I'm going to be standing behind Giuliani, telling him how to say this right.
One thing that was interesting that happened there didn't have anything to do with abortion. That was Iraq, where we now have 9 out of the 10 back the Bush's position on Iraq. You know, have all but 4 of the roughly 250 members of Congress, Republicans, who are backing the president. It is really pretty amazing now that the presidential party has joined the congressional party in backing of Republicans and backing the president on it.
You know, it was interesting. They were all agreed on what to do. Well, except for Ron Paul, what to do from here on out. Right. Though there was plenty of criticism, including Huckabee, who said that the president had talked too much to people in suits and silk ties and not enough people who had blood and mud on their boots, and suggested he had not listened to the military.
General Abizaid, who was in charge, had blood and mud, and he was for the light footprint. He was the one for not a lot of troops. He speaks Arabic. He knows this era. He's not a fool. He doesn't have a silk tie, and he made that judgment. The president relied on it. It was not the right one, but it was not out of lack of interest or curiosity or expertise.
Well, they are backing Bush, because Bush plainly has shifted positions, and now they're shifting positions with him, and they're still behind him. And most of the Republican Party is there, too, still backing.
He just changed his strategy. The president has.
That's big. Changing strategy and shifting positions.
And you're in favor of it.
I am.
Of course I am. I mean, when you change your position, you're like Hillary.
And McCain said, we have a new strategy, and it can succeed.
That's a low blow against
All right.